don't I get you? Audacity of huge, 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 audacity of huge.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2 p.m. on a Monday, and we're at the back of Roberto's, so you know what that means. It is Snacky Tunes. I'm Terry Diabolic, here with my partner in crime / bunk buddy for the week, DJ Never Forget.
Sounds so weird, out of context.
It does sound weird, but we are finger on the pulse, and we are coming to you live on Heritage Radio. We have a packed show today, very excited. Coming up in just a few minutes, Doug Garr, co-author of Stuffed, great book about the current state and future hope of the American food system. And we also have the wonderful famous friends with us today talking about BEMF.
And Free Magic.
And Free Magic.
With here as well.
With a special surprise. Anyway, quick shout out to the one, the only, the beautiful TechServe, helping us get these computers running, these laptops that's spewing out the music every day. And also Jack Inslee, Rec Tech, producer, engineer, respectively, keeping us going, keeping it streaming.
That opening track, by the way, since you skipped right over it.
No.
Is the new single from Simi Mobile Disco called Audacity of Huge, who...
Are they playing this weekend?
They're playing the Jelly NYC pool parties, and anybody who was there last night who saw the double Dan Deacon, Deer Hunter... Well, no, it was 2 shows.
Oh, yeah.
Triple bill.
Right.
Dan Deacon, Deer Hunter, No Age, Magic that they recreated twice in Brooklyn Bowl was fantastic. So this weekend, the weather looks to be 79 and awesome, right, Bemf? And we are going to be the all-day DJs at the Jelly pool party on North 8th and Kent.
And that's Sunday.
And that's Sunday. That's one of the gigs we have this weekend.
Also, big shout out to Maggie and Joey, who are getting this married this Saturday.
Our cousin
and wife-to-be. Very excited.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. So anyway, good weekend this weekend. We dipped out to APW for Saturday, slodged through the mud for some great food that Sam Mason did at the in the back of the VIP tent, some scallops and couscous. But before that, we hit up one of our favorite little coffee shops, Blackbird, on North 6th in Bedford, who's been doing brunch for the last few months. Known for the great coffee and great drinks and really easy vibe. The brunch was actually surprisingly good. Small plates. Had the mushroom frittata with some potatoes and some bread. And it was, if you've ever gone out to brunch in Williamsburg, in any of the hot spots, I'm not going to say who, they're worth it, but the wait's always a pain. Blackbird is a great, stress-free, totally chill environment. Huge windows right on the street. Never forget, I think you enjoyed your brunch as well?
Yeah, it was a good brunch, and I liked it because it was cheap, and yeah, if you get there early before everyone wakes up, they said the rush comes at 2.
Yeah, but no joke, like, coffee or tea, what have you, and food, $10 all in with a nice tip. Maybe 11. And 11 if you're feeling good.
And the waitresses are so nice.
Waitresses are nice and cute, so we'll leave it at that.
So, we're going to play a song?
We are going to play a song.
We are going to play a song from the Juan McLean, who is the very, very amazing live headliners for the BEM Festival this Saturday. Their new record is fantastic, but we're going to play the pop hit, the Human League-esque track that's on there. But if you have a chance to, you've listened to us before, you've heard Happy House. Eventually I'll have time to play tonight on the record, but the record is just fantastic, so...
Yeah, and so without further ado, Snacky Tunes, Heritage Radio, coming up, Doug Garr and the beautiful people behind BEMF.
You've denied me, baby. the satisfaction of your love. So I've been walking home alone, 'cause you left me out in the cold.
He left you out, now I'll take you home.
I'll be here after midnight, wearing my beleaguered frown. But you know it won't be long before I have to put your picture down.
Just take it down, you gave her all.
I can't hear you, baby, when you tell me you don't want me now. So I'll be hanging by the phone, though I know you'll never make the call.
Don't make that call, he'll put you down.
Call me in the daylight, speaking of a future plan. But when you make demands, I know that I could never be your man.
They're not demands, they're just a plan.
Before I knew you, baby, I could have guessed you'd be this way. But it wouldn't stop my love. Now I'm in a familiar place.
He looks the same, but something's wrong.
Feeling without recourse, wish I could undo the time. I was walking home alone, so dejected by my own design.
It's not over, baby. For me, boy, this is just the start. I still got all my love to give, enough love to fill your empty heart.
He emptied it, and I'll fill you up.
Caring without pretense, a picnic on the hillside, clothes of many colors, lying on the bedside, tokens of a lifetime, memories I wanted.
Here if you try, I'll tell you what you wanna hear. If you try, I'll tell you what you wanna hear. If you try, I'll tell you what you wanna.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was just the Juan McLean One Day playing Bemph this Saturday at the Can Factory, being hosted by the wonderful Famous Friends, who we're going to talk to in just a little bit. But up next,
Let's give it a little show ID. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Oh.
You're listening to Snacky Tunes. We are your host, Finger on the Pulse. I am DJ Never Forget. Terry Diabolic, as always, jumping the gun. We want to give a shout out to our sponsor, TechServe. Thank you. You have saved my computer from the brink more times than I can count.
It's always a magic watching the look on your face going to versus returning from TechServe is one of my favorite things. But listen, coming up, very excited right now, interview with the author of Stuffed, an insider look at who's really making American fat. We have Doug Garr on the phone. Doug, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Doug, hey, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Not bad. How are you?
Good, thank you. So why don't you just give us a brief overview on Stuffed, which, just quick note, if you need to know what's going on in the current state of the food industry in America, it is a must-read.
Yeah, well, the unique thing about our book, there are a lot of food books out there now on nutrition and, what's going on, and I think the thing that sets our book apart is that it's the first book kind of written from the industry point of view, laden with a small dose of guilt about what they're doing that's not right, and what they have to do to change it. So I think what people will get out of this book is how the food industry and the restaurant industry are manipulating us to just eating unhealthy and eating more than we really need to eat. And the crux of the book is what can be done to change that from the industry point of view. And there have been a lot of food books written about what's going on, but no confessionals, and this is like a confessional.
Now, the confessional comes from your co-author, Hank Cardello.
Yes.
And why don't you give a quick... now, he was insider in the food industry for marketing and things like that for years.
Yeah. He ran... one of his big jobs, among others, was that he ran the North American marketing budget for Coca-Cola and its related products, which is like... this is a very powerful position, as you know. So he really got to see what was going on in terms of the corporate point of view. And, Hank's position was, for years, nobody really cared about nutrition. They only cared about selling more and whatever. And sweetened beverage products are one of the biggest problems because they filter down into the younger kids who are, kids in school now. They're cutting back because of school budgets. They're cutting back on phys ed. And to balance budgets, there was a whole period of time where school districts just let in the food marketers. So instead of having the little carton of milk at lunch, you had the choice of, let's just go get a Coke. And if you drink enough of it, you're going to get fat because it's, the bottom line on Coca-Cola and its related beverages, anything like that, I'm not just pointing the finger at Coke, is that it's basically a combination of carbonated water and sugar and corn syrup. So that's it.
Yeah. Now, you're saying that you talk about stealth health and, the corporations investing in their consumers, being like, well, if you turn a profit now, eventually you're going to lose these consumers because they'll die down the road faster than if they were healthy. But you talk about stealthily introducing health into menus and so forth.
Yeah. One of the interesting things I learned from Hank is that he basically said, most companies are committed just to their, what's the quarter going to look like, what's our bottom line going to look like. They don't think long term. And in long term, you want your customers to come back. You want them to be customers for life. I mean, this is a basic philosophy in industry. You don't sell them one car or one dish. You want them to come back for more. And his idea, we came up with this phrase, stealth health, and the whole idea was if you change the food around so it's healthier, and don't make a big deal about it. You don't brag to the consumer that you're selling less calories or a smaller portion. Then you'll do fine by your bottom line, and also fine by the customer. And there's a built-in thing with us where we hear that something is a diet-oriented this or that. We immediately assume it's going to taste not as good as the real thing. I mean, from a cookie to whatever. And this isn't necessarily true.
Yes. And you...
that's one of the positions he was advocating.
Now, you found also in your research that the public, even though they mentally knew that they should be eating healthier, had an adverse change when fast food corporations or like that would change the recipes and change the taste.
Yeah, usually if you make a big thing of, the classic thing is the McDonald's French fry. And the reason the McDonald's French fry tastes so great is not because the potato is great. That most people don't understand it. They go, oh, wow, McDonald's gets the best French fries. They don't. They own whole fields and, whole potato fields. What makes it great, taste great, is the cooking oil they use. And the cooking oil is the great part of the stuff that's bad for you. And when they famously when they got criticized for having an unhealthy French fried potato, they famously rejiggered the recipe and tested it quickly and found that people were kind of like rejecting it because the oil didn't have the right kind of smell that brings people into the restaurants. So yeah, people can tell. But I'll give you another example of where it works. El Pollo Loco, which is a big fast food chicken place in the West. I mean, instead of thousands of restaurants, they only have a few hundred. But I interviewed the CEO there, and this guy basically had a great story about how their baked bean dish was taken off the recipe when their major supplier was hit, which was a place down in New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina. So they took it off the menu, and their clientele, clamored and said, this is terrible. Bring back the baked bean dish. So the guy who was the CEO basically went to a nutritionist and said, I'm willing to bring this thing back. I want to wait till this plant is rebuilt because I want to be loyal to my supplier, but I want it to be healthier. So everything, every single part of the recipe, they used reduced fat, reduced ham, reduced whatever it was, and they formulated something that they thought tasted correctly or good, and they test marketed it, and they said, let's roll this out. And guess what? He said the number of people that noticed was almost none. He said people loved it, and the bottom line was because of the ingredient changes, they were able to sell it at either the same price or reduced price. So it can be done.
Now, this is not an overnight change. In your book, you talk about purchasing agents and what it takes on this mass scale to buy food. But what time frame, if we were to start tomorrow, what is the projected maybe timeline of when we could start seeing some serious changes if the food industry was willing to make them?
Well, that's a great question, and I'll tell you, I think you could see a change in 2 years, because I think if companies tomorrow woke up and said, let's get responsible, and started having meetings and talked to nutritionists and said, let's do this, it might take a year to get everything in the restaurants and in the supermarkets changed to a certain extent. And then I think it'd take a year of people, adjusting to this fact. I mean, if that one of the things that we talk about too are the 100-calorie packs. Food makers can make more money selling smaller portions. They do this all the time. You go to the big box stores, and if you buy pounds and pounds of something, it's much cheaper. Whether it's food or any other product. If you start doing 100-calorie packs, which are a good-sized snack, that's great. But if you go to a Hardee's and decide you want their Monster Thick Burger at like 1,650 calories, you've now just used up. If you're a normal American male weighing 160 pounds, you've now used up almost all of your 2,000 calories for the day. So I think people have to sort of readjust to this idea that the portions and the intake mean something.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Doug. Just one last question before you go. One of the greatest things about the book is actually on the outside, the cover. Love that concept. Really been great, and just want to thank you so much.
Yeah.
For coming in. The book is Stuffed, an insider's look at who's really making American fat. You've been talking with Doug Garr. Thank you so much for your time. And the book is available everywhere, I imagine?
Yeah, sure. It's in the bookstores, and you can get it on Amazon.com anytime you want to have it delivered to your door. Awesome,
guys. And again, Doug Garr, thank you very much. Stuffed, an insider's look at who's really making America fat. A must-read if you're into food industry at all.
Okay, thanks a lot for having me on your show.
All right, thank you so much. All right, guys. Again, thank you very much, Doug Garr. Let's get a little audience. All right, you are listening to Snacky Tunes on heritageradionetwork.com. We got the wonderful people behind Famous Friends, Bemf, coming up. Never forget, take us into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only DJ Never Forget, taking us from the past to the future.
I'm not a fan of that.
Snacky Tunes on Heritage Radio Networks.com. Never forget. What were you playing on the platters that matter?
These are all Bemf-related artists. The first one was Dave P. and Adam Sparkles, the B-side of their single called Tuesday's Gones. Before that was the Molyneux remix of Captain Kurt, Mission Complete, and the final one was New Ravers on the Block, Take Me Up. Like I said, all of these artists are playing what?
They're playing Bemf.
Yeah, they're playing Bemf, yeah. Point at me. And we'd like to welcome to the studio Famous Friends and Free Magic. Famous Friends being the founders of the Bemf Festival. Welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having us.
Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Aaron, VDRK, part of Famous Friends, throwing Bemf.
I'm Joel, Free Magic, helping out with Bemf and playing there.
And I'm Ruth from Famous Friends, one of the founders.
Awesome. Now, Bemf, why don't you give us a little history on it? We've been big supporters of you guys for 2 years now?
Yeah. Well, just so let everybody know, Bemf is the Brooklyn Electronic Music Festival. I'm not sure if we said that yet, but so last year was the first year, our inaugural success. It was pretty awesome. We had 16 artists. We did it over at the Yard, and this year we're doing it at the Old American Can Factory. We've more than doubled in size. We have 40 artists, DJs, and performers, and yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's next Saturday, August 8th, 4 p.m. to 4 a.m.
Where did you guys, what did you say?
So this Saturday.
This Saturday, August 8th. Where did you guys get the idea for the inspiration?
It actually came from the idea that there was never a Brooklyn Electronic Music Festival that we knew of. So we've always been doing like DIY parties for like a year, and then we kind of switched over being in clubs, and we really wanted to get back to the roots of being able to do all ages events, doing something outdoors, doing something wild, crazy, and fun. So last year it was really just about bringing a bunch of our friends together that were all DJs and promoters and doing something that we could all love and have a great time. And yeah, it's just growing bigger, and we don't want it, people kind of say, oh, it's, like the stepchild of Dempf, but it's totally not. It's not trying to be anything like Dempf at all. It's all about emerging and upcoming artists, and we try and keep it as local. Most people, about 80 people on the roster are from Brooklyn or from New York. So,
I mean, I think that's what really makes it great. I mean, I think a lot of people, especially DJs and producers and things like that, are scattered, especially from New York and Brooklyn, like all over the world, pretty much every weekend. And what's great about this festival is that, like, okay, here's 15 people who I've read about or heard about in the last year. Now I get them in one shot.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about what your process was of picking artists?
Yeah, this year we decided to partner up with Noise Problem, which is a booking agency we work with a lot. They're actually based out of Chicago, but David Krell, who's been doing most of our booking, he used to do booking here in New York for years, and we just kind of pulled him on board after working with him quite a bit because we love their style and we love that they're like real and down to earth. So we kind of worked together, and we booked a lot of people that we weren't able to book last year, which is great, and booked a lot of... Last year we didn't really have many bigger acts at all, and this year we were able to pull on a few more bigger acts like the Juan McLean. We have a super special guest DJ set that we can't announce until day of show at 5 p.m. on Twitter, so follow us. It's Twitter/FamousFriends, and you will find out the secret guest. And
for those who know who the secret guest is, it's going to be awesome.
It's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be awesome. And Free Magic, you just moved up here from Atlanta, so why don't you tell us what you think about how it's been DJing in Brooklyn, and what your thoughts are on for Saturday.
It's been slow to get started. Kind of, I feel like breaking the ice. I started DJing a while ago and really started pursuing it, I guess, seriously the past year. But I mean, hooking up with people like the famous friends never hurts when you're trying to get started DJing up here. But it's just, I feel like there are so many large, like, over-the-top parties, or there are parties that don't get a lot of attendance. So their parties have been a really good balance, I think, of something that's accessible for everybody, something that people can afford, as always, and it's the closest thing I found to the scene that I fell in love with in Atlanta, which was we did a weekly, we had indie dance nights, we had different nights, but they were packed and they were fun, and anyone could come out. It was about dancing, and that's what it was about. So
Sweet. Speaking of dancing, I think we are now going to get a set from VDRK. Are you ready, sir?
Yeah, I'm ready. You want to announce your time?
Oh yeah. Hold on. Something special to start off this set. Yeah. Hold on. Wait. What do we got here?
Really got to learn those.
Really gotta learn those hot buttons. All right. So Free Magic. What we got?
Wait a second.
I like that.
Yeah,
Much
there it
better.
is. That's way better.
I've been DJing for a while, and I wanted to make my own songs to play. So I hooked up with a band from Atlanta and a lot of friends, and just kind of learned the basics of production and remixed their track, and this is what happened.
What's the band called?
I'm sorry. It's called Today the Moon, Tomorrow the Sun. They're like a kind of indie electronic band from Atlanta. And the track is, like a slower indie dance track, and I kind of took it to a electro disco track, and you'll hear it.
Sweet. This is the Free Magic remix on Snacky Tunes with your host, Finger on the Pulse.
Woohoo!
how you play it. Careful what you say. Careful what you
Yes. You are listening to Snacky Tunes Radio. We are your hosts, Finger on the Pulse. I am DJ Never Forget. Terry Diabolic is setting up for a DJ set. Today in the studio, we have the founders of the BEMF, Brooklyn Electronic Music Festival, and Free Magic, newish Atlanta expat. I don't even think that's the right words, but you guys get the idea. He lives here now. He used to live somewhere else, and now he lives in Brooklyn.
Now I'm here.
And now he's here. And he has a very nice girlfriend, too, who's wonderful. That last set was done by VDRK. Do you want to tell us what you... Oh, I'm sorry. Are you eating?
I'm eating.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize...
I'm gonna speak through the calzone.
Oh, okay. Do you want to tell us what you just played?
Yeah, definitely. The first track was Joel's remix of...
Joel being Free Magic.
Do you want to say one more time what you was?
Yeah, it was a song called Never Always Good by the band Today the Moon, Tomorrow the Sun. And we sent it over. You can put it up on the blog.
Okay, yeah.
And then after that was my first production with my best friend, OCD Automatic. That track will be...
playing at BEMF.
OC is also playing at BEMF with me. And we'll be releasing that track on Subdrive later in September. That was a little preview for all you guys. And then the last track was Flashman's brand new remix of a Visitors track. And it's awesome. That'll be done soon as well. So all unreleased.
All unreleased.
Unreleased.
You shh. So one of the big things that I like when I go out to these all-day festivals is, as you know, as we like to eat. So and to drink, and then to eat some more. So what type of food can we expect at this BEMF festival?
Well, at the Old American Can Factory, we had a little bit of a challenge, being that they will only allow vegetarian food on premise. So we had originally talked to the amazing burrito and taco truck you guys spoke about last week, I believe. So we're talking with them a little bit about getting some vegetarian options, see if they'll come out still. But we have Asia Dogs, if you guys know them or not. They do a lot of events over at the Yard, and it's all about Asian-inspired hot dogs. They have like the kimchi hot dog. They have the Thai peanut hot dog. Like every single kind of Asian fusion type food you can imagine on a hot dog.
But no meat.
No meat. They're doing all veggie dogs for us for the day, thank God. So I'm really happy to have them out there. So go say hi to Melanie and Steve and buy an Asia dog. And then we also have the treats truck. If you've seen it around, all around Manhattan, I'm sure you've seen it at events and stuff. They have
very aware.
Yes, very very delicious. We've also talked to the Van Leeuwen ice cream truck about coming out. Waiting on a confirmation from them, but hoping they'll do it. Come on, guys. And we have some amazing drinks for the day. Instead of just regular Cokes and Sprites, we actually have Boylan soda, which they have here at Roberta's. And Zico coconut water for the day. And some delicious iced tea from Itoen. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Awesome. So... PBR.
Oh yeah, and then we have our delicious sponsors.
Refreshing PBR.
Yeah, Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Which will be awesome with a veggie dog.
Exactly, and we will have an open bar from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. of all PBR. So come out early and get it.
And I heard rumors that the kids can come out to this one.
Yes, this event will be 18 plus. So if you got that state ID that says you're 18 plus, get your ass out here and come party.
Sweet. So we're going to do one more set of music today from Terrence Diabolic Jr. the Third Esquire. You were listening to Snacky Tunes with Finger on the Pulse. In studio today are the founders of BEMF and Free Magic. We will be back shortly.
All right, guys. Snacky Tunes Radio on heritageradionetwork.com.
Let's just talk about the elephant in the room.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
We need a.
There's no monitor in here, and so I apologize if I blew anyone's eardrums or things like that, because in the headphones, it sounded awesome, and then I looked down, and the red had replaced all the green and yellow in the monitor, in the thing. So anyway, real quick, that was just...
I need a microphone.
Okay. Real quick, that was just Flashman Theme by the Flashmen. Before that was the Jupiter One Designer Drugs remix.
They'll both be playing it, Boom.
Yeah, and then the last one was the American Dream Team remix of Grum Woa, which is the one that probably wrecked your speakers. I
guarantee there's gonna be like 10 IMs be like, whoa, guys.
Yeah, like Woa, that wrecked my ears. Anyway, the reason why we played all these artists is because they're playing the Brooklyn Electronic Music Festival. That's BrooklynEMF.com. August 8th, that's this Saturday, 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. at the Can Factory. We have the wonderful Famous Friends
Still
hosting.
get them pre-sales too online.
Oh, tell me a little more about that.
Yeah. We have pre-sales still available online. He's like you said, BrooklynEMF.com. You can buy via PayPal or Google Checkout. $25 pre-sales. It'll be $30 at the door. So get them pre-sales while you can.
Sounds like a good deal.
It sounds like a great deal because
It's less than $1 per performer.
Less.
40 performers, $25.
So we're gonna wrap it up here. We wanted to thank our sponsor TechServe. We want to make sure that you go to heritageradionetwork.com, which you're already at if you're listening because it's streaming, and check the site for other shows and other archives. We want to thank our producer and engineer Jack Inslee and RecTech. And we want to remind you that Snacky Tunes is on every Monday at 2 p.m. till 3. Yeah, that's it. It is so hot in here. My brain is slowly melting out my ears. We're your host, Finger on the Pulse.
big shout out also to Doug Garr, Stuffed. Check it out, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Borders. It is really just a must read. Also check out the article that was in the Times just today about the history of the Food Network and food cooking shows and where that means with American cooking.
And also, reminder, we are playing Sunday as well as BEMF. We are the all-day DJs for the Jelly Pool Party with Fiery Furnaces, Simeon Mobile Disco, and a bunch of other...
Friendly Fires.
Oh, I mix it up. Anyway, no,
FF, Famous Friends.
Anyway, Famous Friends, Friendly Fires,
Anything.
Fire
Famous
Furnaces.
Friends, final words. What do you got? What do you want to say?
Just a special thanks to you guys for having us out here today. It was great.
Yeah. Always a pleasure.
Of course.
Always a pleasure. Oh, and also, don't forget our time at Cameo, August 21st. Bradley D. DJing. You guys will be there?
We'll be there.
Anyway, this is the last track. It's the Udachi remix of M83, We Own the Sky. It is a barn burner. We are Finger on the Pulse. This is Snacky Tunes on heritageradio.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hey, Thank you.